Now, did Gaijin change the rank of the MAUS platoon, or was the MAUS always rank 7? Because up until today, I was convinced that this vehicle was rank 6 alongside the T29, but in any case, today we'll be taking a look at the MAUS, T29 and the M6A2E1, and we are going to see how these vehicles compare to one another, and we will see which one is actually the better vehicle, although all of these vehicles are unique, and I don't really say that, that there is a best vehicle, but it's very nice to see the differences between the vehicles. And let's start with the MAUS. Now, the MAUS has a pretty big main cannon, 128 millimeters. It is also fairly slow. The mouse's top speed is 21 km per hour. The reverse speed is also 21 km per hour, but the overall reverse speed does accelerate faster, so yeah, that's kinda a weird thing about mouse. 6 horsepower per ton is the specific power ratio. It has a lot of crew members. It has 188 tons. I mean, this is a super heavy premium tank, or a super heavy tank. It has very good penetration. It has also a decent ammo choice, although it doesn't have a PFSDS or anything fancy like that. But the ammo choices that you get is, going to do a fairly good job, and it is going to be sufficient for the vehicle and for rank 7. The turret is of course slow, and the main armor, well, the frontal armor, the frontal hull armor is very tough. The mouse is definitely one of the more heavily armored vehicles, although APFSDS, HEATFS and ATGMs can penetrate your armor even if angled. And the main weak spot of the mouse is located at the turret. Basically, the thinnest armor are the turret cheeks, left and right from the main gun, and that's usually where the ammunition is also stored. So a good hit should technically detonate the ammo in a single hit. But if you angle the vehicle, if you angle the mouse, this thing can be very, very hard to kill. And let's take a look at the T29 next. Now, the T29 is a rank 6 vehicle, and for a rank 6, I would say that it's definitely the best vehicle the best heavy tank of the rank. Now, on paper, it doesn't look any special. 105mm main gun. The main gun on the T29 is actually, well, it's weaker than the main gun on the mouse, and the ammo that you get on the mouse does seem to penetrate a bit better. And this vehicle can easily penetrate the mouse frontally without, you really have to aim accurately in order to kill the mouse from the front with this vehicle. It is also fairly fast. The reverse speed is usable. Penetration is decent. The frontal hull armor is, well, not the best, but the turret armor on this thing is really, really tough. And if you can manage to hide the hull of the T29, this vehicle can be very, very, very hard to kill. Basically, the turret armor is the way to go, and you can use the turret to bounce shells. The weak spots, well, it has that gun mantlet, and that gun mantlet is basically going to be a magnet for shells, so definitely no such weak spots on the front of the hull of the turret. The roof of the vehicle is thin, and if someone does manage to land a HE shell on top of that, it might overpressure. The other weak spot is the lower plate from the frontal armor. I mean, the frontal hull of the T29 is definitely not the thickest, and it's, it's fairly tanky, but the turret is the way to go. And we have the M6A2E1. Now, this vehicle does have the same gun as the T29. It's also well, fast when it goes in reverse, but the overall top speed and reverse speed are the same. And this thing is huge. Very, very tall, allows you to shoot over obstacles. Main weak spot is basically the turret ring, the connection between the turret and the hull. That's where you can get penetrated easily. And you have a little weak spot above the gun mantlet, a little flat turret armor where you can also get penetrated, although the main weak spot from the front is the turret ring. Fantastic frontal plate though, and again, fantastic turret armor. You will also bounce shells with this vehicle as well. The reload speed is a bit slower on this vehicle than the T29, and definitely still faster than the reload on the mouse. The mouse has the slowest reload, and the mouse is overall the slowest heavy tank that we have here. The tanks that I like to drive is the T29, quickly followed by the M6. The MAUS is also pretty nice, but the MAUS is a bit slow and you might struggle to go from point A to point B with the MAUS, but we will see how the vehicles will perform. Overall, I believe all of the vehicles are very, very similar, and I'm still convinced that the MAUS was rank 6 and that they have changed the rank of the MAUS, which is interesting. A free rank 7 premium tank basically if you got the MAUS from the first ever event. So let's go to the first battle and let's see how this thing will perform. So I'll start with the MAUS. After all, I haven't been using this vehicle in a while. Now basically with the MAUS you want to go, well, you want to reach the battlefield as quickly as possible. So I would usually go and take a shortcut. Now the MAUS is going to struggle against some main battle tanks armor, like the M60 for example. The M6A2E1 AOS has a very tough armor and the MAUS can't penetrate the frontal armor easily. You have to aim for the turret ring. Basically the M60 AOS has the same weak spot as the M6A2E1, although it is definitely a, well, I won't say a superior vehicle, definitely more modern than the T29, but both have about the same weak spot between the M60 AOS and the M6A2E1. Now with the MAUS, you have to angle the armor. I mean, frontal upper plate is definitely going to be bouncing shells, but you also have that little lower plate between the tracks. That's also a spot where you can get penetrated. So the way to play the MAUS is basically to angle it, and also have to angle the turret. Angled, the MAUS is very, very tough to penetrate, and only high tier vehicles with some modern ammunition types can penetrate the armor if angled, but even if angled, it's very tough to go through the armor of the MAUS. Well, the MAUS can actually penetrate the frontal armor of the T54, although the distance is, you know, a bit long. I'll still try to ammo rack it though. You also get a secondary gun on the MAUS. Now the secondary gun is a 40mm, a 75mm cannon, and it's not doing much, honestly. But the secondary gun can penetrate lightly armored vehicles, and the secondary gun can also be used to bait the enemy. Basically, you can use the secondary gun to shoot, and that might make the enemy think that you fired. So then they come and then you kill them with the main gun. I know I have a lot of ammo. I did reduce the ammo, but the game didn't reduce the number, so that's not up to me. That's just the game being bugged. As usual, not very surprised by that, honestly. As for the other heavy tanks, if you aim at the weak spots, it will penetrate easily. It is funny because the T54, right, is rank 6. Well, it used to be rank 6 at least. Or did they change the ranks when they completely revamped the tier list? I have no idea why. I have no idea what they did. So yeah, a bit confused with the MAUS's current tier. Although you do get some pretty good vehicles, so kind of justified. And I'll be playing those vehicles next in one of the next videos that I plan to make. And so far, I'm holding the position really well so far. 4 kills, maybe 5 if the bombs end up doing some damage. Well, there we go, 5 kills with the MAUS so far. The main problem with the MAUS is the size. It's a pretty big tank, and big vehicles are usually big targets. So definitely a vehicle that should be used and should rely on cover as much as possible, although this vehicle is huge and it is also a magnet for bombers. Bombers love to go after the MAUS, and that's the main drawback of this vehicle. It is huge, it is very slow, and it is a very big target for aircraft. I know when I'm driving this vehicle, I have bombs fall on me all day long. So yeah, that's one of the things that you have to keep in mind. A KV-2. What is a KV-2 doing in high tier? Fun fact, the secondary gun can actually penetrate the armor of the KV-2, and I can just spam the secondary gun. Kinda funny how that works. Now, can you get the first place in the team with the MAUS? Well, yeah, you can. Although honestly, getting first place with this vehicle is not that easy because it's slow, and faster vehicles usually tend to do more because of, you know, their speed and stuff like that. So that's also one thing to consider. And I'll try to capture the base, although I'm not really sure if I'll actually reach the base on time. From what I'm seeing here, a good chance that I'm not going to get to the base on time. Based on... Well, yeah, I just gave up on the base because obviously I'm not going to get there on time. This vehicle is just way too slow. But is the MAUS a good vehicle? I know a lot of players said that the MAUS is bad, said that the MAUS is horrible. And I can kind of see why. I mean, if you are driving fast vehicles, medium tanks like I do, then this vehicle definitely going to feel a bit slower, and it's not going to feel as natural as, you know, as some of the other vehicles. It's definitely going to feel a bit odd. It might be, you know, not as performing as your medium tanks, but the MAUS has its charm, and it has about the same gun as the Yak Tiger, so you do get a good gun on this vehicle. Although I just wish that it had different ammo. I think the ammo kind of does prevent the MAUS from doing MAUS things. Not really necessary to have a PFSDS or something, but you know, I think it's accurate what ammo it has, but I'm not really sure if it's a vehicle that should be fighting with high tier vehicles. I mean, I'm a defeat 4062 Leopard will eat a MAUS for breakfast, of course, if they know how to play the vehicles. But the MAUS is definitely a heavy, I mean, super heavy tank. It will be funny if we get the TOG and some of the other very funny vehicles. If we get a TOG, that's gonna be hilarious. The TOG tank, that would be funny. Maybe we do get that thing at one point. We will see. Anything is possible at this moment. Well, that was a good match. Didn't get the first place, but I think I played really well with this thing. Now let's go to the T29. Now this vehicle is going to be, well, it's going to be much faster, and I'll be able to go from point A to point B much quicker. And usually I tend to do better with this vehicle than with the MAUS. Now, the MAUS does have a better main gun. The 128mm on the MAUS does have more penetration, and it does perform a little bit better than the 105mm on the T29 and on the M6. And if you did have a fight between a MAUS and a T29, the MAUS has a higher chance to score a penetrating hit than the T29, because the T29's weak spots are just much larger, and the T29 has much lower hull armor, which means that if you do happen to fight a MAUS with the T29, the best chance for your winning, for your survival basically, is to shoot at the main gun on the MAUS, or try your luck and shoot at the turret cheeks of the MAUS. And maybe it goes in, maybe it doesn't. That's why I'm saying that it is safer to aim for the gun and prevent the MAUS from shooting. And then with the second shell you go to the MAUS's side and shoot the MAUS directly inside. There you will penetrate. But from the front, penetrating the MAUS with the T29 or the M6 is a very tough thing to do because of how well armored that vehicle is. And the MAUS can just simply shoot you in the hull or in the lower plates, and this basically does destroy the T29. After all, the T29 has a weaker lower plate, and if you can hide the turret, the MAUS is not going to be able to penetrate your turret. The turret on this vehicle is the best defense, the best armor, however you wanna call it. Not very easy to penetrate the frontal turret armor of the T29. However, the main gun, well, I already said the main gun is more than enough. It is basically getting the job done, and you are not going to see much of a problem with the main gun. It will penetrate 90% of the vehicles easily, and it is honestly a very good, very decent. The ammo has the explosive APCBC and the classic APCBC. I use the explosive one. The explosive one is simply it is simply better, honestly. Does a lot more secondary damage when it penetrates, and it has these perks that just make it very useful for combat. And you will see after this match, when I go into the M6A2E1, you will see that that vehicle is also very fun in its own way. It does play a bit differently than the T29. Now, it's also a good example to show you that thick armor isn't everything. I mean, and the largest main gun is also, the main armor is okay, I guess, but armor isn't everything. Main gun isn't also. It's also not everything, but it is important. But the most important thing is player skill, if you ask me. It always has been, it always will be. And I think I did have some very good games so far. Well, I have 6 kills in this round. How many kills did I have with the MAUS? I think it was like 7. So in the end I do well with both, I guess. But on this map, this position is really good for the T29. Basically, you hide the hull, and the only thing that is visible is the turret and the main gun. The T29 does have machine guns, and it has some very good machine guns. They will penetrate lightly armored vehicles without a problem. They will penetrate SPAAs, they break tracks, they can also break modules on the tank. And it is a very usable machine gun. The MAUS also has some machine guns, but the auxiliary main gun is the most important secondary armament on the MAUS, and that was a good match. 6 kills, I'll take it. Well, and I also got about the same amount of points as well. That's interesting to say the least. Alright, and let's go to the next tank, the M6. So this thing is huge. I already mentioned that the size of this thing is admirable. It is I think one of the tallest vehicles that we have. Now the size, it allows you to basically look over cover, and that's one of the ways how you can take advantage of the size of this thing. It also does rely on hiding the hull armor, although the hull armor, the weak spot on the hull armor isn't as bad as the weak spot between the hull and between the turret. This vehicle's main problem is the turret ring, which is very easy to hit, and if you get hit in the turret ring, the vehicle is basically destroyed. Because that's from that point the spalling and the shrapnel and all that goes all over the tank, and yeah, the turret ring is the main reason why you want to hide the hull of the vehicle behind cover. Now, but the hull, I mean, the hull itself is good. The hull armor is much better than the T29's hull armor, but the turret ring is a very big weak spot that is definitely problematic when it comes to exposing the vehicle. So when you hide the vehicle, you want to hide the vehicle in such a way that you hide the hull, but most importantly that you hide the turret ring. And because of how big this tank is, it's actually fairly easy to do that. You can find a lot of covers and objects and terrain that is going to allow you to hide the vehicle. Of course, there's also the weak spot above the gun mantlet, but it is not as big, not nearly as big as the weak spot that we have on the turret ring with this vehicle. And this brings the question, well, which vehicle has the largest weak spot? Well, it is, I think the T29 has the most optimal weak spot positioning, because you can literally hide the weak spot and be safe. The MAUS definitely comes to a second place, because if you hide the hull of the MAUS, you can still get penetrated in the turret cheeks, which, it can be quite problematic. And actually, the MAUS might be the easiest to kill, because you only have to penetrate the frontal turret cheeks. With this vehicle, if you manage to hide the turret ring, it performs almost the same as the T29 with a better reverse speed. So the MAUS does definitely have the most significant, largest weak spots. Then that's quickly followed by the M6, and then the T29 has basically the least visible weak spots, which is quite interesting to say the least, because the MAUS is technically a higher tier vehicle now, although again I don't really think that used to be the case. For I don't know, I don't know when they changed that. So if you guys know what happened with the tiers, then please do let me know. But I got 7 kills with the M6. So I usually play these vehicles. I play the T29 and the M6 very often, mostly because these vehicles are just very fun to drive, and honestly they are very enjoyable to use. Probably I said the T29 platoon is the best rank 6 platoon that we have in the game right now. He does run really well, and all of these vehicles are fantastic vehicles. Well, let me quickly try and capture the base here, the zone. IS-1. Now even the IS-1 can actually kill you if they hit the turret ring. So yeah, definitely this vehicle loves to use cover. It's a very good vehicle to use with cover. Does reward that type of play really well. Now the main gun is the same main gun that we have on the T29, but it reloads a couple seconds longer, which is not a big deal. It is still a very good gun, so no complaints for me on that front. The accuracy on the T29 seems to be a bit better. That's just how it feels using the main gun. The accuracy just feels better on the T29. Maybe that's just my imagination, but that's how it feels. And of course I get bombed. Now I think it's time for me to go back. I can't see anything because of the fire, so I'll just pull back. There we go. I pull back and let's see if I can shoot at... No, I can't see anything. The fire is in the way. As usual, something is always in the way. Well, let me see if I can get a bit more kills. I have 8 kills, pretty solid actually. And that's kill number 9, beautiful. This is probably the best game of the day today, of the video. 9 kills with M6, that's lovely. Did not expect any less. It is, again, I did drive this vehicle a lot, so I'm quite used to it. And I love to use it. It is a very interesting vehicle to use. It does produce a lot of silver as well. And I mean a lot of silver. This thing is printing money. After all, I also have premium, and I do have this thing, which is also a premium vehicle. Premium vehicle plus premium means you will be making a lot of silver. I think I hit like 10 million silver or something, which is kinda impressive, not gonna lie. And we have won the match. That was a very good game. That was a very good match. So that would be it for today. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe, and do tell me which one of the 3 vehicles here do you like to drive around. And with that being said, stay safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.